Hello and selamat sejahtera to Dr. Ang. My name is Muhammad Nabil Hakimi Bezan Abidin. I'm from class S1B and today me and my friend will show to you how we answer the research objective. The research objective is there a significant difference between anxiety level in relation to the final test for statistic course among different group of FSR part 6. Let's go.
Okay, this section explains the data management procedure carried out in this study. The online questionnaire responses were first collected and stored in Microsoft Excel before being transferred into SPSS for analysis. Proper data management was essential to ensure the accuracy, reliability, and quality of the dataset prior to statistical analysis. The response obtained from the online questionnaire were initially downloaded in Excel format. Each row represented one respondent, while each column represented a variable such as demographic information and individual anxiety items. The Excel file was imported into SPSS using the Open Data function. During this process, variable names, value labels, and measurement level were checked to ensure correct data represented in SPSS.
The anxiety level of respondent was measured using the anxiety subscale of DASS21. This subscale consists of 7 items, namely item 2, 4, 7, 9, 15, 19, and 20. Each item is scored on a 4-point Likert scale ranging from 0 to 3. Following the manual scoring guidelines, this score for the 7 anxiety items was summed for each respondent and then multiplied by 2 to obtain the final anxiety score. Once the anxiety score were calculated, respondents were grouped according to their respective groups, namely S1A, S1B, S2, S1A, S1B, and S2. The calculated anxiety score for each respondent were retained as a continuum variable in SPSS. These scores were later used to compare anxiety level across the 3 groups during descriptive and inferential statistical analysis.
Descriptive statistics were first conducted to summarize the demographic characteristics of the respondents. Variables such as gender, age, height, weight, and group were analyzed using frequencies and percentages. This analysis provided an overview of the sample composition and helped describe the general characteristics of the respondents involved in the study. Descriptive statistics for anxiety levels were analyzed using the descriptive statistics function in SPSS. The mean anxiety score was calculated to present the average level of anxiety within each group, while the standard deviation was used to describe the variability of anxiety score amongst respondents. These descriptive results allow for an initial comparison of anxiety level between the S1A, S1B, and S2 groups before conducting inferential analysis. After that, the result is S1A mean 11.73, SD 7.09, S1B mean 11.20, SD 5.28, and S2 mean 18.13, 30, SD 8.38.
For inferential statistics, a one-way analysis of variance or ANOVA was used in this study. This is because the research involved 3 independent groups, namely S1A, S1B, and S2, and one dependent variable, which is the anxiety score. One-way ANOVA is an appropriate inferential test for comparing mean difference across more than 2 independent groups. To address the research objective, 6 main steps were conducted. First, the hypotheses were formulated. The null hypothesis stated that there is no significant difference in mean anxiety level related to the final statistic test among the 3 groups. The alternative hypothesis stated that there is a significant difference in mean anxiety level among the group. Second, the level of significance was set at a 0.05. This means that 5% probability of committing a type 1 error was accepted when making the statistical decision. Third, the assumption required for conducting a one-way ANOVA were checked. The first assumption was met, as the independent variable was categorical with more than two independent groups, and the dependent variable was continuous. The second assumption, random sampling, was assumed to be specified as participants were selected from the same population of varsity students. The third assumption of independence of observation was met because each respondent belonged to only one group and provided one set of response when answering the questionnaire. The fourth assumption required the dependent variable to be experimentally numerically distributed within each group. This assumption was exercised using uniformity test and was found to be acceptable and okay. Fifth assumption, homogeneity of variance, was evaluated using Levene test. Since the p-value was not significant, there is 0.51 equal variance were assumed. Fourth, the test statistic and p-value was determined. The one-way ANOVA result showed a statistically significant effect of group on anxiety level, with F2 and 45 equal to 5.04 and p-value of 0.009. First, the statistical decision was made because the p-value was less than the significant level of 0.05. The null hypothesis was rejected. This indicates that there is a statistically significant difference in anxiety level among the three groups. In conclusion, this study examined difference in anxiety level related to the final statistic test among three groups of students, S1A, S1B, and S2. The finding from the ANOVA-way ANOVA indicates that anxiety level differed significantly across the groups. Descriptive results showed that students in group S2 experienced higher anxiety compared to those in group S1A and S1B, while anxiety level between S1A and S1B were relatively similar. This finding suggests that group-related factors may influence student anxiety level and highlight the importance of providing targeted support for students who experience higher test anxiety. This is all from us, and bye-bye.